Hi, my name is Brian Bergeron. I'm the president of CPaT Global. We are a pioneer in the distance learning industry for aviation training. We've been doing this work for over 25 years, and we have the most comprehensive portfolio of distance learning content for aviation training available on the market. I came to CPaT Global in early 2016, and unlike many of you who have devoted your entire lives to aviation training, I actually come from a software background. And I've done work in everything from e-commerce to workforce management to law enforcement to transportation. And I've devoted my time finding interesting solutions to business problems using software. How can you make things simpler and more efficient? I've been amazed at the demands of aviation training. The complicated nature of it, the volume of it, and the importance of it. Obviously, the consequences of poor training are dramatic. And I've been equally surprised by the limited amount of resources that have been available to provide that type of training. They really expect a lot out of training executives. And so that's really inspired me to see how can we find software solutions that can be more effective at making training easier to provide, more efficient, have them spend less time creating training and more time actually creating better pilots. You have to think about aviation training on a spectrum, where you have the more expensive elements of aviation training, like a simulator training or fixed training devices on one side, and then you have elements like distance learning on the other. And distance learning basically enables those other elements in that it makes sure that pilots have the skills that are necessary to be successful when they arrive at that other training element. And now has never been a more challenging time to be a training executive. Just based on world events, you have to consider things like travel availability and cost and reorganizations. It's just a really, really difficult time to be a great aviation training executive. Distance learning really emerged about 25 years ago. And the funny thing is that while it has, the delivery mechanism has changed. It's gone from maybe a PowerPoint presentation to a floppy disk to a flash drive to the internet, and that's made it a lot more convenient to distribute it. The substance of distance learning and the format really hasn't changed that much in 25 years. It's still the same. And in fact, when you look at the available tools that are used to build distance learning, you think about things like Storyline or iSpring or Toolbook or Captivate. Some of those are with us still and some of them are not. And they are good at presenting material, but they're not really very effective in the aviation market. And it speaks to the volume of material that has to be managed, the complicated nature of the material, the need for regular and consistent updates, and availability of things like a digital asset library that allows somebody to make content very quickly and effectively. Using these tools can become very inflexible in that it's a one-size-fits-all mentality, and it doesn't allow for unique attributes around regulatory requirements or maybe standard operating procedures. It's also really difficult to modify. You are now dependent on your vendor, and that might be time or cost, or you've got to have a department of your own to maintain this type of content. And then finally, you have to have different types of vendors to fill different needs in your training continuum, so you have to now coordinate multiple vendors into a single solution. So what aviation training really needs is a solution that's flexible in that it can be changed to meet their specific requirements, simple in that anybody can do it. It needs to be thorough in that you have all the different types of solutions in one place. And finally, it's got to be economical so you can get the very most out of every training dollar spent. CPaT recently released a new product called CPaT Invent. CPaT Invent is a software platform for the creation, modification, and maintenance of aviation training content. And so far we've been talking about the limitations of current solutions, and I would describe that as courseware. Training courseware is rigid, difficult to modify, and really just doesn't meet the needs of the current aviation industry. Now, when you compare that, CPaT Invent is aviation training software. It's dynamic, it's flexible, and it's empowering, and it puts all of the control in the hands of the training executive. So we can talk about this all day, but why don't we just go build a course? CPaT Invent is organized into 4 sections. The left section is the lesson outline, which includes elements of instructional design to facilitate rapid development of a lesson.
The top part is the lesson menu, which allows you to add or delete major elements of a lesson. The page menu is on the right, which allows you to interact with the material presented on the page canvas. The page canvas is the content on the particular page of this lesson. The lesson outline includes important elements of instructional design like an introduction, objectives, and this makes it easier to make sure your lesson is built to include everything that a properly designed lesson would include. Also, we've incorporated simple drag and drop sorting capabilities so that you can organize your lesson in any way that you'd like. CPaT Invent makes it easy to add new slides with our add page functionality. The first thing we're going to do is add a basic slide. As you can see, we have different preset layouts, including a free form that allow you to be as creative as you want to be in developing your content. We also have the ability to present different formats of content based on our use of content editors. Right now, we include content editors for two-dimensional or basic pages, for three-dimensional cockpits, for three-dimensional walk-around training, and for FMS training. But I think it's really important to note that these content editors are expandable over time and that we can create new content in formats like synoptics or in interactive diagrams or in virtual reality. So this application can continue to grow and expand as new types of presentation are needed. On CPaT Invent, we've incorporated a very robust digital asset library that makes development of your courseware a lot easier and a lot faster. We've incorporated various filtering capabilities so that you can isolate the type of image, maybe by airframe or by description, that you want to use in your course. The asset library is capable of maintaining things like digital images, PDF files, and video. We also allow for the addition of reference material, and this material is available throughout the lesson. You can choose a format of digital images, PDF, or video, and it provides a great venue to illustrate an important point or include documentation to emphasize something that's really important. So CPaT Invent allows you to modify your content or ours. Here we're going to show a freeform page where we are making changes to imagery, where we are changing the presentation layout, where we are adding text. But this could just as well be an existing slide from one of our courses or one of the ones you've already built. You can incorporate different types of images or even video, and these editing tools allow you to present the information the way you want to see it. Here we're going to add a three-dimensional cockpit. And we're going to incorporate some hotspots that are specific to what we want them to be. This is going to allow you to do procedures training that is specific and tailored to your individual standard operating procedures. The FMS Skills Trainer is a procedures trainer that ensures that your pilots possess all the necessary skills to be successful when they get to more expensive levels of training. We've preloaded our procedure suite with examples of typical FMS operation. You can modify an existing FMS lesson that we provided very easily to meet the specific requirements of your airline, reordering the procedure or anything that matches your standard operating procedures. Also, you have the ability to add an unlimited number of lessons into our FMS Skills Trainer that meet your specific needs. So if there is something additional that you need trained, you can create that. If there's something that comes up in the future, you can train that. Really, it's only limited by your own creativity. One of the things we hear about a lot is the desire to make modifications to audio and to text. Regarding text, you have multiple options for presentation. You can use the text that we've already provided, or you can modify it to meet your specific requirements. And that might mean making a small change or replacing it altogether. Further, you can even translate the text so it's presented in a different language. Regarding audio, you have multiple options. We provide professional audio with all of our courseware. You also always have the choice to use synthetic audio as well. We offer 3 different modes of operation, including demo, practice, and perform. Demo is the teaching mode. This is where a student is being instructed how to complete a specific task. Practice is more of a quiz mode. This is where a student is given the opportunity to complete the task, but is given helpful hints or guidance when they have a problem. The Perform mode provides evidence that the student has mastered the task before they arrive at additional training. Well, now let's look at a published course. As you can see, we've incorporated a reference material that can be used throughout the lesson. We've added digital assets from our asset library. We've incorporated a free-form page that is specific to your requirements. And we've included a three-dimensional cockpit that is perfect for procedures training.
The fact is that the demands on aviation training executives are growing by the day, and existing solutions are just not capable of meeting all of those demands. We need to put aviation training executives into the captain's seat. They need a software platform that is empowering, expandable, flexible, and efficient. We need to have all of that functionality under a single umbrella so that you can be in control of your training destiny. We need to move from no, you can't do something to yes, you can do something. And CPaT Invent makes all of that possible.